Thank you. Good morning. Convening this morning's hearing for the House Committee on Culture, Arts, and International Affairs. We're here in room 309. Today is February 14, 2024. Time is 10:30 a.m. for the purposes of hearing a number of bills. First up, we have House Bill 1807 relating to the Works of Art Special Fund. Repeals capital improvement appropriations for renovations of state buildings as a source of funds for the Works of Art Special Fund program. First up, we have State Foundation on Culture and the Arts in opposition.
Hello, Chair Tam, Vice Chair Martinez, and members of the committee. The State Foundation opposes House Bill 1807, and I'd like to just articulate briefly on 3 points, as briefly as I can. I will be reading from this paper so that my point is expressed effectively. Number one, the bill states the 1% requirement is not necessary for renovations of state buildings since those buildings already have access to works of art furnished through the Art in Public Places program. While existing state buildings may have access to art, renovation funds are necessary to care for works of art in state buildings. Renovation funds support the escalating costs associated with conservation, repair, and maintenance. As with state buildings, works of art also require repair and maintenance. Number two, the bill states, removing the redundancy of applying the special fund to renovations would have no adverse effects on the Art in Public Places program, as the state currently possesses a surplus of artwork in storage for future use. Our response, per HRS 103-8.5, the Art in Public Places program does much more than furnish art in state buildings. Removing renovations would have an adverse effect on the Art in Public Places program and would end the State Foundation's ability to run the statewide program, which includes acquisition and distribution of works of art from contemporary local artists and the galleries that serve them, conservation of the exterior public art collection, interpretation of the collection, which includes programs within the Hawaii State Art Museum and applicable portions of the Artists in the Schools program, as well as recognition of student artwork to cultivate new local future creatives. On average, renovation funds account for an estimated 68% of the percent for art revenue, or about $2.5 million per year. While this amount may not significantly impact renovations to state buildings, this would have dire consequences for the State Foundation, halting the arts and education work in primarily rural, underserved, and creative communities. The State Foundation and its Art Advisory Committee process bring both cultural and historic significance to state building projects new and old. This involvement should not be limited to new construction funds alone, as construction funding would not be sufficient to address the needs of state buildings. The third and final point, the bill states that the state currently possesses a surplus of artwork in storage for future use. The State Foundation's Art in Public Places program collection has 6,482 relocatable and 434 permanently installed works of art. Over 77% of the state's artwork is on display, and 676 display sites statewide. The remaining 23% not on view is either available for rotation or on hold for conservation or being processed in our distribution center. We believe maintaining an inventory of available art from local artists of Hawaii is essential for placing artwork effectively in facilities statewide. Thank you for your time. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Ms. Ewald. Next up, we have Hulipak on Zoom.
Aloha, my name is Mapu Morinoi from Holualoa on Hawaii Island. Strongly opposing HB 1807. I'd like to add that culture and arts boost the economy all across industries, boosting our educational platforms. But I'd like to write on Karen's testimony before me that Outer Islands grossly lack arts and cultural representation in public spaces. The funding that is currently available significantly represents Honolulu-based constituents. So Outer Island people have lack of access to public art. So cutting it back would be detrimental to Outer Island residents, as well as programming and on all islands. So with that said, this bill impacts Hawaii for generations to come on all islands. The culture and arts nourish and enhance more thoughtful citizens. This is not about becoming a professional artist. It is about becoming a better person, in any industry one chooses because of the critical thinking and thoughtful foundation culture and the arts provide for our children and our communities within our cultural and arts landscape. We need this to reflect within our communities, and right now, Outer Islands grossly lack that. So we are in strong opposition of this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Hawaii Handweavers Hui on Zoom.
Hello. There's a lot of feedback, so I don't know if you can hear me or not.
We can hear you just fine.
Okay. I am members of the committee and honorable chair. I'm testifying today as president. Thank you. I am testifying today as president of the Hawaii Handweavers Hui.
What's going on?
Okay. Members of the committee, chair. I'm testifying today as president.
Is there someone else testifying or me?
I'm testifying today as president of the Hawaii Handweavers Hui, which is located within the Downtown Arts Center in Honolulu. We are deeply opposed to House Bill 1807, which would repeal part of Hawaii's landmark first-in-the-nation law to provide 1% of the construction cost of public buildings and their renovations. I'm testifying for the Hui. Deeply opposed to House Bill.
Ma'am, is there something wrong on your end? Is there someone else talking in the background? Everyone, please mute so that the person that is testifying and has the turn to testify can testify without any interruptions.
I'm testifying for the Hui.
Repeating back what she's saying.
No, I am hearing feedback from the
Ma'am, we have your testimony. Do you want to continue or?
Thank you. First of all,
Ma'am, we're gonna have to move on. We do have your written testimony. Is that okay?
I just want to very quickly summarize my concerns. The Handweavers Hui.
Ma'am, you can just keep going. Please do not pause. It does take up time, and we do have other bills to go on to.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
I just want to very quickly.
Next up, we have Jaslyn Lofton on Zoom. Not present. Okay. Next up, we have Jody Edicott on Zoom.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity. For time's sake, I just wanted to stand by my testimony, and I hope that you did read that and see that the arts has many ways to contribute to our society besides the making of the art. There's also the way that we can tie in with our own societal issues here in our community. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Tanya Yamanaka Aisnesian.
Thank you very much. Aloha, my name is Tanya Yamanaka Anasazian, and I am from Pahoa, Hawaii Island, and I strongly oppose Bill 1807, which ends support for professional development for DOE teachers, 13 arts centers, 8 organizations that offer Native Hawaiian and arts-based programs, which impact 124 public and charter schools on all the major islands. This bill also repeals the capital improvement appropriations for renovations of state buildings as a source of funds for the works of art of the special fund, the Works of Art Special Fund. This bill cuts an estimated 68% of the Art in Public Places program, which reduces or eliminates government support, especially by reducing access to arts and culture. And the culture and arts do more than bring our community together. In a world of pain and suffering, which we can all see every day, we need the art, which is essential to bring us back to who we are. We need access to arts and culture in these ways and professional development for teachers in public schools more than ever, like access to clean water and public transportation. Access to the arts has a deep and lasting impact on our standard of living. Like clean water, the arts provides a reflection for us all to see ourselves as individuals and as a collective. Like water to the body, art is to the soul, cleansing, healing, revitalizing, and sustaining. It is impossible for us to thrive as a people without it. Like public transportation, arts and culture moves us, taking us to places we otherwise could not go. It is so important for us to keep this art in public places and access to the arts in order for our kids and students of all ages to have a competitive edge on the rest of the world, because the world is extremely competitive. Life is not as concrete as we all like to pretend it to be. Educational curricula is filled with more and more that which is concrete, that which we can test and assess. But life is subjective. It's dependent upon our internal rather than our external world. Our feelings are subjective, our memories are subjective, and art is subjective. And art in public places allows us to identify how we can work with our subjectivity and come to consensus together. Personal interpretations of current events and life is subjective, and it would be such a disservice to not have these artworks, to not teach how to live and work with our subjectivity. Access to the arts and arts education is a critical component on how we teach our future generations how to be in touch with that part of us that's creative and curious enough to develop our own thoughts and develop our own ideas. Arts and culture is at the core of the professed outcomes of Hawaii's public education system, educational outcomes that we've branded as lifelong learners, effective communicators, and complex thinkers. These are great buzzwords, but I don't know how we can teach each other how to become complex thinkers and effective communicators, and without understanding and addressing that subjectivity that we all live with every day. In addition, arts education and access to the arts is associated with lower dropout rates, as well as better academic outcomes. And in my testimony that was written, I left some links regarding that. I feel like the very fact that there's legislators who want to cut arts and culture funding really, is a result of not funding it enough in the past to have instilled an appreciation of their impact on us as individuals and as a collective culture. And really, in '86, the state of Hawaii passed the Aloha Spirit Law, which is the connection of heart and mind. And the arts is what helps facilitate that learning and that coordination of our heart and mind. And so in closing, I hope that my testimony has appealed to the Aloha spirit within each of you. Please do not pass HB 1807. Let us invest in our future by providing access to the arts and culture, arts and arts education. The future of education includes arts and culture as a core component, and arts in public places is a very big piece of that. The future of our residents, and indeed the world, lies in our heart-mind connection and our authentic expression of the Aloha spirit. Thank you so much for the ability to testify. Aloha.
Thank you. Next up, we have Regan Humphrey in person. Is there a Regan Humphrey in the room? Okay, moving on. Seeing that is all that we have signed up to testify on House Bill 1807. Is there anyone in person wishing to testify on the measure before us? Go ahead. Please state your name and the position you hold on the bill.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. Angela Melody Young testifying, wishing to comment. So this measure would repeal the Hawaii Revised Statute, Section 103-8.5, which creates a special fund for the capital improvements designated for the construction and renovations of the state building. So the concern I'll present, if this is repealed, will there be another fund to fund renovations and constructions of the building? The facility in downtown collaborates 3 offices, Deep Ed Film Office, and the Art Museum. And the work they are doing is so extraordinary and innovative. When moving this measure forward, the policy should not negatively impact artists, filmmakers, and producers' ability to contribute to the arts and culture. So we just ask for your consideration.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on House Bill 1807 in person? Okay. Yeah, please. Yeah, just state your name and your position.
Hi, I believe I submitted late, so apologies for that, but I did testify in opposition to this, and I just wanted to make clear that my testimony here today is from me, Marisha Palma Elmore, just as a regular human and not with any organization, as some of you may know me from another organization. So this is just me in a sweater with cherries on it, testifying as a human, so that y'all can see the face of someone who has directly benefited from this, from small kid time to now. And while we all might not grow up to be professional artists, as one of the testifiers said, we grow up to be librarians and lawyers and advocates for labor, but the arts is what shaped us. So that's all. Just wanted to put a face to the folks that benefit from this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on Zoom that wishes to testify on the measure before us? Seeing none, members, any questions?
Sure, I have a question.
Yes, Rep. Capella.
There's there's one more.
Hello, go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, are you wishing to testify on House Bill 1807?
1807, yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry. My name is Setsuko Morino. We're from the Big Island. I'm sorry. Somehow the technology took me, and I realized my opposition letter didn't get into it in the file. So I'm so sorry. I'm here. Is that okay? I can.
Yeah, feel free to just please send over your testimony to us via email, so we can.
Oh, okay. I did it, but I'll try again.
Okay.
And I can just say a little bit.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. My age, this is my age, 76. Being an advocate for the arts for my 50 plus years in Hawaii. My husband out there to demonstrating how important this bill is for. And here I am here the island and try to support, but opposition of this very, very disturbing bill that is trying to take over our lifestyle and enrichment of the humanity. And all that is, we don't have such a dollar sign to say economically prove that it's stand for, but economy follows this culture and arts rich area. And that's what do arts and culture makes our land so important. And I see my eyes since we funded Hololo Foundation for Arts and Culture on the west side of Hawaii, and now call it Donkey Mill Art Center. We seen time and time, we have so many people moving to this island, wanted to be close to the center and to be involved and to be part of the community. As a human, it's a value how we live. We question each other and ourselves through making the arts and evolve the collaboration in the making arts. And that's important. And we're giving this education to children. And how important this is And this is a way back then. I have to go back to the history of this state, 1965. Governor John Burns, I wasn't here as yet, but I really appreciated how he really supported, did a far vision, future vision for the people of Hawaii. He's not from here, the island, but he really secured the arts and culture, the importance of it for the people of Hawaii. And I hope everybody to look back this history and how important is that he put this bill, the situation's place of the arts and culture directly in his place. Nothing to do with the political gameplay. And we are trying to shift that to that place, and it's very, very dangerous. And I hope you have a respect and responsible decision-making how important arts and culture in this state and also influence to other states across the nation because of Hawaii put this in the law. And it's the purpose of this is beauty and humanize our state building and increase building public access to the arts. How enrich our living and its style. It's so important that we question. And it doesn't need to be artists. As a business people, taking opportunity with how beautiful and rich this culture that you can make a better business. And I strongly believe that is angle of thinking and benefit of yourself or benefit of the culture and the arts and the people involved. Do not forget, more than half we are really creating this beauty and a better humanity in this state. And we should be a very, very good example across the nation. And thank you so much for my opportunity.
Thank you. Rep. Capelli, you have a question?
I do have a question. For Hulipack, Ms. Morinoi,
Yes.
thank you so much for your testimony, and thank you to all the individuals who testified. I think we heard really impassioned testimony today. As a mother, as someone who advocates for your community, and someone whose family has been really involved with the creation of not only instilling arts, but keeping arts and culture alive in the heart of Hulualoa and across Hawaii Island with Donkey Mill. I know really a lot of it is because of your family. Can you talk about what we would lose as a community if this funding was taken away?
Absolutely. So my parents are co-founders of the Donkey Mill Arts Center. Their programming over the last over 10 years have really merged into culture and arts. They send public school DOE teachers, and the State Foundation for Arts and Culture nourishes the education and special programming so that we can build more thoughtful, compassionate, empathetic, and culturally appropriate educational teachers. Also, the Donkey Mill Art Center nourishes and trains artists within the school, public school system, and they have teachers in Holualoa School, Kahakai, and Kalakahe, and they also work together with the Native Hawaiian language schools through Kilo practice. They've now done cultural partnerships with Ka'alu Ku'uheva, which is right above the Donkey Mill, and it's a organization with Native Hawaiians reclaiming land. I believe these were King Kamehameha ali'i lands where they grew a lot of food. It's over 100 acres, and so they're doing a lot of Native Hawaiian traditional practices and entering space and understanding about what it means to malama aina and bring back the land for Native Hawaiians in particular, but educational schools, teachers, and students. So they just recently did a tour, and then they did a tour at the Donkey Mill Art Center, which always has kind of an INA-based or cultural-based conversation. And they do arts there at the Donkey Mill Art Center. So essentially would impact all the teachers, the DOE teachers that gets to have these programming that the Donkey Mill facilitates, as well as the ability to go to Honolulu and do a deeper, more thoughtful dive around culture and the arts. So yeah, it would impact many generations and thousands of students, which is why this is a catastrophic domino effect, is what we're trying to say with this bill.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, any other questions? Seeing none, we're going to move on to House Bill 1939 relating to the arts. It appropriates funds to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts to provide greater access to the arts for children and communities in need, with a focus on those affected by the Maui wildfires. Chair wants to let everyone know that we do have your written testimony and that we have session in 1 hour. I want to give enough time for our members to get prepared for that. So if you can, please stand on your written testimony. Thank you so much. First up, we have DBED. Seeing they're not present. Next up, we have State Foundation on Culture and the Arts.
Hello, State Foundation stands on the written testimony in support. Strong support.
Next up, we have Creative Industries. And DBED is also in support. Seeing none, we're going to move on to Maki Mornique on Zoom in support.
Hi, thank you very much. I'd just like to say I'm in strong support of this bill. As a multi-generational kama'aina from Hawaii Island, a practitioner of mana healing for over 28 years, and an artist in performing and visual arts, I've held space and observed for decades the positive impact and the vital role that the culture and arts have on society, especially around trauma, addiction, and other mental emotional challenges. So this would be absolutely important and nourishing to the people of Maui, especially Lahaina. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jody Edicott on Zoom.
Hello, my name is Jody Endicott. I came down with COVID yesterday, so as I was submitting my testimony, I did not put down the right number for this bill, but I am in support of this. Please stand by my testimony. I'm from a family of lots of trauma. I'm one of your public artists that have been schooled here. I do art to bring people together, and I work with students, and I've seen the impact that it can have on students who maybe don't fit in, and they learn so much, and it sets them on a good course for life. So I would welcome an opportunity to take anyone who's interested on a tour around the Capitol just to see why we have what we have there, and also talk about the other aspects that art changes people's lives. So thank you very much, and I apologize for not having the right number of the bill on my testimony. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Next up, we have Setsuko Mornique in support.
Hi. Again, my name is Setsuko Morinoue from the Big Island. I strongly support this bill. And this is the kind of things we like to celebrate, how the arts and culture can help and heal needed people and the land. And we can do so much. And thank you so much for putting in a spot and put more money in it, and so that the Maui can heal better, faster, and emotionally we can support their people. And thank you so much.
Thank you. That is all that we have signed up to testify on the bill before us. House Bill 1939. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on the measure before us? Go ahead, please state your name and your position on the bill.
Angela Melody Young on behalf of CARES in strong support. Let's talk about art and education. This measure is for funds to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts to develop partnerships with arts organizations and to establish a statewide arts program to provide greater access to the arts for children in light of the wildfires. And as I reflect on recent events, we must act to advance the arts as something to restore Hawaii. Arts can heal. It applies restorative practices, mental health strategies to foster vibrant, inclusive, and nurturing communities that model and promote social justice. From justiceartscoalition.org, the art group provides workshops and projects to prisons and jails and juvenile correction systems. So it's very healing. Art is so important to children because art teaches social-emotional learning strategies. SEL is actually mandated by a few jurisdictions to be a tool to teach about trauma-informed care and to help children process their emotions so they don't cause unnecessary conflict at school. The arts, according to evidence-based research, can empower and equip the next generation with the creative skills and resources and a skill set they'll need to become healthy and successful adults who will contribute positively to society. Art class strengthens youth's resistance to risky behavior and school failure through arts, performance, career opportunities, and engagement in recreational activities and learning about social development. The arts helps students with creativity, academic performance, motor skills, visual learning, and it boosts higher decision-making skills. STEM was the basic educational foundation to prepare students for great careers. Now it has become STEAM, STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math because of the realization that art is an essential piece to students' learning. So thank you for your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to testify on the measure before us, either in person or on Zoom? Seeing none, Chair does want to note I accidentally omitted that the number of testifiers in House Bill 1807. All the testimony has been in opposition, and some have been in comments. But back to 1939, we do have only supportive testimony for the measure before us. Members, any questions? Seeing none. Moving on to our next bill on the agenda, House Bill 1940, making an appropriation to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. It appropriates funds out of the Works of Art Special Fund to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts for the integration of works of art projects into several major capital improvement projects. First up, we have State Foundation on Culture and the Arts.
Hi, State Foundation, in strong support. I just wanted to make this point just so that the committee understands. The bill would raise the ceiling. At the moment, there's about $10 million in the account, and we're allowed to spend 5.5. The demands of the programs and the facilities are high, so raising the ceiling, we would like to have it raised. It would not raise the cost of the projects or impact the state budget. It would just let us have access to that fund. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Maki Morinoe.
Aloha, from the Hawaii Island. I'm in strong support of HB 1940 because raising the funds for the State Foundation for Culture and Arts there, it would basically relinquish the ability to nourish outer islands and other programming even more. So I'm in strong support of this. This increase in funding would finally value the role of culture and arts in our society and nourish outer island initiatives that are significantly left out and underfunded and threaten to be available for us. We must have leadership that instead of cutting funding creates reassurance that arts and culture are declared vital to our very well-being and not threatened to be dismantled, put under leadership of economy and tourism, current budget shared with new entities, or the threat of making the State Foundation for Culture and the Arts, along with our residents, ask for money during every legislative season. Those are all my observations from past testimonies that I've come to that I wanted to put on record. We need to start valuing culture and the arts as a pure and self-standing importance. Keep the practice and purpose pure from profit, as it naturally invites a multitude of profits as it stands on its own merits. Because we are professionals and not hobbyists, we are business owners, we're inventors, we are designers, we are musicians, we are educators, we are healers, we are artists and cultural practitioners. This bill would nourish and value culture and the arts. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jody Endicott. Sorry.
Hello again. I would like to read part of my testimony. This type of funding from SFCA is what kept downtown triangle of Downtown Arts Center, Mark's Garage, Weiss State Foundation, or Capitol Modern vibrant during those 2 years. This type of funding brought in people that could seek art, and as a result, it also, the restaurants and all of that remained open and sustained. People came into their offices, and because of these type of projects, we're bringing art to where people are, and that's huge. When I did the bus stop guide downtown, it was a city project, not a state, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that we need to have more art in our city, more art where people can contemplate. When I go down there to do the maintenance of that sculpture, there's often a line of 2 or 3 people there trying to tell me how much they love that sculpture, how important that guy is, how he's their best friend. And maybe some of them don't have best friends, but through our art, we make them feel wanted. I've seen the difference that this kind of thing can make a difference in Hawaii public schools because these APP projects that can be carried over again into public spaces are, sparking the way children can see and think. Not just children, though, but adults. And all of this carries over into different ways to make our society a little bit more caring. It creates a circular economy. The people who are paid through the arts are using those funds to pay for their rent. Everything stays here in Hawaii. This is not our art. Funding our arts keeps this going, and it keeps it going in 2 different circles. It's a double circular economy as the money circulates through 2 drivers, the artists, and then the 50% when an art is bought through an exhibition, which often is in a public space now. That goes to support employees and rent and web folks and all of that. So the money just keeps flowing and flowing and flowing here. And then also, yesterday, I know it probably, perhaps it didn't sound related, but it definitely is. We have a big problem with homelessness. We have a big problem with our environment and plastics, and the ocean rising and many things. And yesterday, as I was dropping off a houseless young man who was on his way to school, who's living with me right now with his mother, I drove by the road in Kailua, and there were 5 policemen that were off to one side, and there was this homeless woman who her shorts were around her knees, and she had defecated all over. It was like, they were turned away from her.
Please keep your testimony to the bill at hand relating to the
All
ceiling.
right. I just want to say that I support this bill. We need more funding for things to find solutions. Art can heal people. It can bring solutions to things such as homelessness and many other things. It'll make us vibrant. Thank you very much. Sorry to ramble on. All right.
Great. Thank you. That is all the individuals that have signed up to testify. Is there anyone who wants to testify?
Hello. Hi. Sorry. It's me again, Setsuka Morinoue. Is that okay? I can
I'm
come
sorry.
in?
Please let me finish before interrupting.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anyone in person wishing to testify on the measure before us? Go ahead.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young on behalf of CARES. In strong support, art is a strategy to equip the community with. It has an impact on our culture and it builds the skill set of children beyond the academic experience. And so, I researched a lot about the museum before testifying today, as I don't want to distort anything. So the Art Museum is an exhibition featuring artists of Hawaii and beyond, and the alliteration of exhibitions in their various series recognizes the excellence of emerging artists while creating a space for them in their programming. While a few are delicately abstract and others bold, they all tell a unique perspective of culturally relevant personifications of the Hawaiian kingdom and about personal stories and beyond. The art reflects the illustrators, visionaries, artists, musical performers, and filmmakers' attempts to embody stories of creative imagination and cultural aesthetics. The location is the perfect destination for people traveling around the world to downtown to experience it all. The artist community is thriving in Hawaii, and funding projects can give more opportunity to locally grown talent across the various districts and beyond. And we should support the Art Museum and elevate them to a superior level of being. Student artists get grants and apprenticeship opportunities from the museum, and the funding helps designers and artists to run workshops where then the designer and the artist can empower the community and others who are students to learn a new art form and to create a career. So we should build that talent pipeline and help them grow their demonstrations and exhibits. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone on Zoom wishing to testify?
Yes, may I?
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I strongly support HB 1940, and pretty much everyone else said, especially my daughter, and we're very proud. And I would just read a little bit of things that I wrote. I believe that arts and culture to flourish in the community brings better, vital, and exciting lifestyles. It will be our engine for a better economy and its development with inspiration and innovation to motivate our curiosity, our creativity, and possibilities. And this is for not only for the adults, but for the children, early age especially. And our kids strive through their lives and went off the island. I want to make all the children have opportunity to go off the island, see the world, see the island from the different perspectives, and come back. And we have some place for them to flourish our economy, and by involved in creativity and culture, most important where we came from and the value, the way we live. And so how we can help them, how we can live enrichly that way. And one example, I would say that in Kona, we have a Hawaii community health clinic. CEO there and Donkey Mill, we are working together, raise the money for the clinic and have arts in that facilities to help people feel better. And just simple as that, we can do lots of collaborations and make community better. We have to be part of it. We have to be involved. The artists to come out from the studio to do more for society's sake and not for only your your studio work, but do more. And so they're visible for that we are part of a society, and so that politicians and the government won't forget, and we are part of it. We can work together, make a place better, and the economy will flourish. Thank you so much, and this is wonderful that we can have more funding for this. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on the measure before us? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, Chair wants to note that we have received 67 testimonies in support and 3 in opposition. We're going to recess for decision-making. Okay, reconvening our 10:30 agenda for the House Committee on Culture, Arts, and International Affairs for the purposes of decision-makings for a number of bills, including the bills that we have had previously heard on February 9th here in room 309. First up, we have House Bill 1807. Chair wants to thank all the individuals that have testified for the bill. Chair wants to know that he does share a lot of concerns with the bill. So we're going to amend the measure. The chair's recommendation is to amend the bill so that instead of repealing the 1%, we will just be providing additional exclusions to the 1% for amount of certain types of construction work, such as, for example, roads, waterworks, bridges, and so on and so on. We're also going to defect the date to the year 3000. Members, any questions or discussion?
Chair, a quick comment.
Go ahead, Rep. Capella.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate your amendments and your attempt to put some guardrails on this measure. I just feel that from the testimony that we've heard today, along with the comments that I've been getting from individuals from my own community, I cannot in good faith support this measure. Even with the guardrails, I feel that measures like this are austerity politics. And I think that when it comes to funding our future and funding a better world for every single community, I think that we can't remove the arts and anything that puts that in jeopardy. I think is really dangerous. So for me, I'm unfortunately going to have to vote no. Thank you.
No problem. Chair will I just want to make sure that, if we have to have the conversation, we at least move it forward. So is there anyone else that wishes to make a comment? Rep. Garrett?
Thank you, Chair. I share similar concerns to Representative Capella, but to support your recommendation to move this forward, I will be voting with reservations and reserving the right to vote no on the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Reservation.
Okay. Rep. Martinez will be voting with reservations. All right. Chair will also be voting with reservations on the measure before us. And Rep. Alcos will also be voting with reservations. So Vice Chair for the vote.
Okay, voting on House Bill 1807, Chair and Vice Chair voting aye with reservation. And Rep. Garrett said with reservation also. And Rep. Capella?
No vote.
Rep. Matayosi, absent, excuse. Rep Sayama, excuse. Rep Alcos? Reservations. With reservation also. Okay, Chair, your bill has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 1939, relating to the arts. Chair's recommendation is to pass this with amendments. We're going to defect the date to year 3000, and we're going to note in the committee report that the appropriate funding for this would be $150,000. Members, any questions? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 1939, Chair and Vice Chair voting aye. Any representatives voting no with reservation? So with Rep Matayoshi, Rep Sayama, excuse. Chair, your recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to House Bill 1940, making an appropriation to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. We're going to amend the measure to defect the date, and we're going to note in the committee report that we would we should be freeing up $4 million. Members, any questions or comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 1940, Chair and Vice Chair is passing with amendment. With Rep Matayoshi and Hayama being excused, anybody voting no? Anybody voting with reservation? Chair, your recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. We're going to move on to our decision-making for the previous bills on the February 9th agenda. First up, we have House Bill 2735 relating to the Hawaii Tourism Authority. We're going to pass this out as is to move it on to the next committee, as it's already been heard and it already has a defective date. Members, any questions? Comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Voting on House Bill 2735, Chair and Vice Chair vote aye as is. With Rep Matayoshi and Sayama being excused, anybody voting no? Anybody voting with reservation? Seeing none, Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you. Next up, we have House Bill 2246 relating to the State Foundation on Culture and the Arts. Again, we're going to make the same recommendation to just pass this as is since it already has an effective date, but we're going to note in the committee report the grants that was provided by us from the Hawaii Tourism Authority that would be appropriate to move over. Okay. Any comments or questions, members? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
House Bill, voting on House Bill 2246, Chair and Vice Chair is passing with as is. With Rep Matayoshi and Rep Sayama being excused. Oh, Rep Capella is also excused now. Anybody voting no? Anybody voting with reservation? Seeing none, Chair, your measure is adopted.
Thank you. This hearing is adjourned.